Look at the S&P 500 as we gear up to trade April week 3. We are already at monthly OPEX. If you're not familiar with the way the S&P 500 options trade in week 3 every month, the April expiration options will only trade through Thursday's close, and then they will settle with the average opening price for Friday using the ticker SET. Okay, here we start off with a look at the intraday chart of the S&P 500 for Friday for this session that we just traded. Overnight, we struck a new all-time high that would have seen us, with the current spread that we had been trading at the end of the day on Thursday, would have seen us all the way up around 41.11 to 41.12. So that was pretty exciting to wake up and see that had happened overnight, but it had begun to fizzle off, and by the pre-market, as we were heading into the release of the PPI data, you know, that gain started to fade. And after the release of the PPI data, we actually wound up opening about flat on the S&P, flat to Thursday's close. We saw an effort to try and rally in the first half hour, set the initial balance high, faded off of that, and really it just, was kind of a slow grind with about 1 hour of sideways action that just absolutely killed all the premium and options. And it took us all the way until about 145 or so to finally resolve this overnight high, all-time high with ES. And by that point, the spread had shrunk. It only took about 41.1086 or so to resolve that. And once again, we sat here for about an hour, but finally in the last 45 to 50 minutes of the day, after one more little pullback, we took off. I gave the people in my private account a measured move level of 41.2621. That would have been taking our low of the day to this level where we resolved the overnight high with ES and doubling that up. And sure enough, that is right where we rallied to. In fact, we took a look above that, striking an all-time high right in the final 5 minutes at 41.2848, closing at a new weekly and daily all-time closing high, 41.2880, and taking a little look below the 10% mark. I've had this 10% mark on the chart for several weeks. This is plus 10% on the 2020 close, making us up 10% for the year 2021. We often reach a key point, like a 10% point on a stock or an index. We often reach that point and take a look below it and fail or overshoot it because there are always people lining up to try and short this at this main level here. So come Monday, we are either going to overshoot this by a couple of percentage points, or we have our high in for now. A catalyst for us having our high in for now is that we get our CPI read on Tuesday in the pre-market, and look what they did to us with the PPI. Yes, we did come back and rally, but we had this unresolved all-time high hanging over our heads to sort of magnetically pull us up. If we don't have anything to pull us up going into that Tuesday read of the CPI, if we come in and we are flat and we just sort of fade on Monday and then sell off into Monday's close, there's really no reason to come back and rally if the market is spooked by the CPI data. So I really think we have a good chance that we've seen our high for at least a few days. But if we haven't, we will overshoot this 41.32 level. And I will show you where we would go next if we were to overshoot it. This is a daily chart that I post on my public account, and I'm waiting for somebody to ask me a question about it, but nobody ever does. What these green lines are in the background, these are a bull fork with the final plotting point of the bull fork set with the November low. And ever since that November low was set, every single all-time high has gravitated to this median line. You can look to the left on this chart and see what has happened every time. Well, if we're going to drift higher and overshoot this plus 10% mark, then we're going to head to the median line of this bull fork. And on Monday, that line rises to 41.70. It's rising about 6 points a day. So as we get to Friday, we're going to be nearly at 4,200 with this median line. You can see the last time we reached the median line, we kind of clung to it for several sessions, finally taking maybe a 1 point look above it, and then we rolled over. So we could hang up to it, hit it, and then roll over, or we could get up to it, pull back a little bit from it, and climb along it for a week. We'll see. Now let's take a look at the roadmap to kind of navigate our way through if we have seen our high with Friday or we only take maybe a small minor look above it and then begin to fade back? What are going to be our lines in the sand, our levels to look forward to? Okay, the first level is going to be this 41.1250. That's the halfway back of Friday's range, the 50% retracement point. And remember, we just a little bit over doubled the day up from taking back that ES overnight high. So this on ES would be a pullback and a look just above that high that we had made overnight on Friday. And we either hold this and work our way back up towards the high, or we break this and we work our way back to Friday's low. And if Friday's low doesn't break, then not very far below that we have Thursday's low and the halfway back on the week we just traded. So taking the high we made on Friday back to the open for the week on Monday, which was our low for the week, add those two together, divide by 2, and we get 40.82. If 40.82 breaks, we go through something I call the 80 handle rule. Because if we can't hold an 80 level and make it back to 4100, we're going to fall back to 40.60. And it just so happens to be, oh darn it, I hate when this happens on my videos, when these messages come up from Thinkorswim. Anyway, if we're going to break 40.80, we're going to head back down to 40.60. And look what's at 40.61, the April halfway back, using the high that we just made today, Friday, and the low at the April open. I guess that's right here. You add those two levels together and divide it by 2, and you get 40.61. And look what's coming up on the heels of 40.61 on Monday. We have the 10-day simple moving average. We are so far above the 10-day simple moving average now. A simple pullback to just test and hold that would be great. Could be a great spot to get long. But if it breaks, we have one final gap here that takes us back to the close of April week 1. And what's coming up on the heels of that area is going to be the 20-day simple moving average. Probably going to rise to about here on Monday and probably right underneath this level on Tuesday. So if we had to have a bad reaction to the CPI data and the pre-market on Tuesday, and maybe we gap down open and break the 10-day simple moving average, maybe we come down to test this area between these two gaps that sort of support and hold us up for the whole month of April right now, and the 20-day simple moving average. I think this could be like a key spot in here that you could get long, whether you want to use the April expiration calls or you want to go all the way out to the end of the day Friday calls. That's why you have 2 expirations for that. If you look at the monthly expiration here, these 40.75 puts are my choice of weapon here if we're going to fall back, and my choice of weapon if we are going to rally up. I want to stay as close to the money as possible, so I'm willing to pay as much as $11 and go with the 41.50. But of course, if we sell off, you could come down much lower. You could probably come down here to, the 41.35 or 41.40s. Maybe these would be cut in half and down to about $8 there if we had this nice little sell-off next week. And of course, move on to the Friday end of the day if we get maybe all the way to the end of the day Tuesday before this move finally happens, because you really want to get as much time as possible as you can on that and not be stuck with those monthly options that will expire on you on the open Friday. Okay, I hope this video helped you out. If you liked what you heard and you found this information useful, click the GoFundMe link in my profile and read about what you get in joining my private account. Make a donation and join. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. As always, good luck and good trading.